Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the last meeting of the year, isn't it? We're going to call to order and going to do roll call first. Ryan Miller,
Here.
Kyle,
Here.
and you said Christine's out, and Mohammed's out. Yes, ma'am. I'm here. Christy. Here. And Lena.
Here.
All right, let's stand for the pledge, please. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Oh no! God, can they come to my house? Do we have any public comments? I'm gonna make a call for public comments. And I don't see any comments, so we're going to close public comments and we'll move on to the public hearing. Oh my God. Since I forgot my glasses, would you be so kind as to read the public hearing first one?
Read the whole thing?
Yeah.
The first public hearing, to hear input from the public regarding an ordinance of the City of Manvel, Texas, amending the zoning classification of an approximate 5.7420 acre tract located at 2951 County Road 58, Manvel, Texas, from light commercial district to light commercial district with specific use permit, providing for the granting of a specific use permit with conditions to authorize the use of the property for NICS Use Code 447110, gasoline stations with convenience stores, providing for the amendment of the city's official zoning map, providing for severability, and providing a penalty in the amount not to exceed $2,000 for each day of violation of any provision hereof.
Thank you. So do I have any comments on the public hearing before us? Second call for comments on the public hearing before us, and third call. And we're going to close the public hearing at 7:03. I can. 6:0, sorry. 6:03. I'm used to the 7 time. Okay, I can see this. My lucky day. You can?
Oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just trying to help. All right. Second public hearing, to hear input from the public regarding an ordinance of the City of Manvel, Texas, amending the zoning ordinance of the city by changing the zoning classification of an approximate 13.82 acre tract of land located at 11700 Magnolia Parkway, Manvel, Texas, from open single-family residential district to light commercial district, providing for the amendment of the city's official zoning map, providing for severability, and providing a penalty in an amount not to exceed $2,000 for each day of violation of any provision hereof.
Thank you. First call for our public hearing number 2. Second call. And third call. So we'll close our public hearing at just about 6:05. And we have a consent agenda? We do. So I'm looking for an approval for our consent agenda.
I will give you a motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor, please raise their hand. And that's a unanimous pass. And our executive session is secret? No, sorry.
Well, due to the way it was posted, and it's named City Council, which is an unfortunate thing, but we don't want to confuse anybody because City Council is obviously not here and it's not with City Council. We're just going to apprise you about a lawsuit we received from Meridiana, basically challenging one of the interpretations. So we're happy. We're going to look forward to making a response on that one, and we'll just update you more at the next meeting what's going to happen with that. But basically, it was just informational anyway, but because of the posting error, we really can't go into any executive session in detail. So we'll put that on for the next one.
Okey doke. Thank you, Bobby. So we're going to move on to our regular agenda. Consideration and possible action to forward with recommendation to City Council Manvel Palms Master Plan. So, if you could give us an overview?
Yes. This is a master plan for Manvel Palms. This was formerly known as Yanni Palms. to update you all. Since then, with Yanni Palms, Section 1, a final plat had been approved, as well as what was called a master preliminary plan, also construction plans. Since that time, everything has expired, so the developer is starting all over again with approvals, and that begins with a master plan. With that being said, I thought somebody said something. No. With that being said, staff is not recommending approval for the master plan. And just as a background on this, with the master plans, you're recommending body to council, and council is the one that will have the final action on it. But staff is not recommending approval of that, and that is to, number one, provide a traffic study to the city since it's located along a major thoroughfare. And then we also, we need revisions to the master plan so we can determine the parkland dedication requirement that is needed for this development. In your packet, you had 3 reasons. Today, a preliminary drainage report for Manvel Palms that was updated has been provided. So item number 2 in the staff recommendation has been taken care of.
Brad,
Good evening.
how are you this evening?
I'm doing very good. Here for a different project for once, so it's interesting. Totally respect the comments and the reasons that are being listed as reasons for disapproval. The only thing I would ask is instead of a denial, a conditional approval, and it's really just given the unique circumstances of the phase 1 of this project, as most of you or all of you probably already know, is already built, partially, with the construction of the streets being mostly done, needing to be repaired. You know, some utility leads are in, some utility leads are not in, and it's a mess. And so we recognize, we're kind of coming in on this, trying to fix the problem at this point. We weren't the original applicants, and now we're here, so. So we recognize that a traffic study is necessary, and we also recognize that the parkland dedication needs to be clearly displayed. We think that those 2 items can be addressed in between preliminary or master plan submittal and final plat submittal. So those 2 items can be worked on concurrently with the construction plans, because really we want to get everything fixed as soon as possible, at least on section 1. And we think that's a fair request. But if disagree, that's okay. We're not quite ready for a construction plan submittal anyways. It just essentially means I'll be back here for another meeting in a couple weeks or whenever the traffic study is completed.
For the new year.
Yeah, which a meeting I'll probably be at here anyways. But we think that they're fair for a conditional approval. But if you choose to disagree, that's your prerogative for sure.
I'm glad you see it that way.
I can answer any questions if y'all have any about the parkland dedication.
I only have one question.
Yeah.
You just want us to change all our rules because you guys want us to do it a different way? Is that basically what you're telling me?
We're not disagreeing with the rules. We're just,
You want us to change them so we could do them your way?
well, we're agreeing to the conditions instead of reasons for denial. Because we think we're going to comply with those conditions. It's just, we haven't complied with.
But you just want us to approve, you want us to approve your,
Yeah.
All right, Jessica, did you say that 2 has been?
2 was taken care of this afternoon, actually, about 3 o'clock.
Okay, so then it's just 2, number 1 and 3 that's needed to be.
Yes, we ran into a similar issue with the traffic study, if you remember, for Valencia's master plan. I do realize that, that was a new project and we, don't have roads that need to be torn up and utilities, but without anybody going into depth with that any further, it's possible that all the roads that are out there may need to be torn up. Those utility lines have been there for a while, so, and then since this master preliminary plat was approved a few years ago, the city's grown a lot since then, so it probably would be very beneficial. It may amount to nothing, but it might be very beneficial to see what those things say, because it doesn't just have to do with ultimate right-of-way width. There are other things that it could say. Maybe there's a turn lane, maybe a traffic signal, certain things that are warranted now that maybe, 3 or 4 years ago wasn't the case. And that's something that we can figure out through that. As far as the parkland dedication, we've kind of got some information back from the developer as far as where it could be or where it would work, but we've just not been able to make any sort of determination, cut and dry that, yes, this is how the parkland dedication requirement is going to work for this development. So,
And I can shed a little bit of light on that. I very well described. We don't have final determination on that. And really, the only reason is the old owner had an agreement to have the cell tower removed. The new owner does not have that agreement in place. It's a negotiation between American Tower, which is a publicly traded company, so just everything takes longer. So that's still the plan. That's still the goal, but it's not black and white. And so until that's a new contract is signed, we can't with 100% certainty say that would be where the big park would be.
So the parkland dedication isn't just a matter of, it's not described correctly or marked correctly. We don't actually know where it is yet.
no, it's to be determined.
Okay, thank you.
But I will say that that park area, as it's shown on the master plan currently, if it does not become a park, if the cell tower remains, then the land plan on section 1 doesn't change. It's just still a reserve. It's just we provide our parkland through something else in phase 2, which if you're looking at the master plan would be either a fee in lieu, or we would turn the cul-de-sac on page 2. Oasis Court would just turn into a park area instead. So we can account for it, but obviously that would require changes. So.
I think our concern is by, just doing a conditional approval would be like, oh, you submitted the traffic study, but, we think there need, I'm saying if we approve it with just the condition of having the traffic study, then, we need to make sure through the traffic study that everything that you have in place works. So
Yeah.
by doing that conditionally, that we're not able to do that.
That's my thing right there. Because if it comes back with a bunch of changes, what's it gonna do to us?
So it's just more just making sure, not that we don't think that you're gonna do it, but it's just a matter of we have to have the ability to really see the results of that before we can decide if we can approve it or not.
Who's the owner here? You're talking about an owner.
It's
RIC Yanni Inc.
it's the investor.
Yeah.
The investor owns the property.
It's not a home builder right now.
Yeah.
So the idea is that we get all the infrastructure fixed, and then a home builder would be interested in the site. Until we get the infrastructure fixed, no one can build a home there, and it's just a bunch of concrete out there.
Sometimes staff does do conditional approvals. Typically, when we do a conditional approval, it may be something simple as labeling that's on the plat. When we have large items that we feel could change the configuration or just change an approval period, that's why we won't recommend approval. And I feel like a traffic study as well as a parkland dedication, you could have some changes in there. And that's the reason why we don't present a conditional approval.
Questions, comments? Okay,
I can make a motion to approve
Thank you.
regular agenda item A.
I will second that.
all those in favor of the motion on the table, raise your hand. All those that deny the motion on the hand, raise your hand. And it's denied. Thank you, Brad. You do get an A for trying. Okay. So we're going to move on to letter B, consideration and possible action to approve final plat for Pomona Section 27. Ms. Jess, or do you want me to read that whole thing?
You don't need to read the whole thing. I think just the gist of it. This is Pomona, section 27. You previously saw this plat at your September 22nd I'm sorry, September 2022, so just a few months ago, where it was not approved. Since then, they've come back and addressed comments that were there. We are recommending a conditional approval on Pomona Section 27, and that is to include revise the city limit lines and ECJ boundaries on the face of the plat where it's reflected in the same manner as the vicinity map.
Questions? So you're only, I have a question. You're only looking for one
One revision on that.
one revision on this?
Yes. So in this particular area where Pomona is located, we've got our ETJ, where's Pomona, and then just south of this area, we are within the city limits of Manvel, and it's not reflected on the face of the plat. The vicinity map that's on the plat does show those lines, but that is one of those things in section 6241B18 where you do want jurisdictional lines on the face of the plat. I think it was just an oversight when it was resubmitted.
Questions, comments? I don't have my glasses, I'm relying on you.
I will give you a motion to approve it if you'd like.
I'll second that.
All right,
You're approving that with one condition? That's your,
I'm sorry, yes, with one condition.
okay. I just wanted to be clear.
Yeah, good, thank you.
all those in favor of the motion on the table, please raise your hand. All righty. We are going to, thank you. We are going to move on to, these cannot be done together. Letter C. What is this for here? Okay. Oh, this is, yep, this is consideration and possible action to approve and forward with recommendation to City Council ordinance 2022-0-31. All right.
Joe's will present this item to you.
Okay, Joe. Come on,
Evening, Commissioners. I'll try to be quick on this.
take your time. We want to understand.
This is a request for a specific use permit for a subject site, which is approximately 5.742 acre tract and located at 2951 County Road 58. The property is currently zoned light commercial district, LC, which is the zoning designation. The subject site is the Manvel Express gas station and convenience store. It was part of a 302.14 acre tract, which was annexed on July 7, 2014. And the site was developed prior to annexation, so the use was established without an SUP. The need for the SUP at this point is because the applicant intends to add 5 more gas dispenser to the site. And since there's no SUP established on the property, the applicant needs an SUP established and an allowance for addition of the fuel dispenser. So that's a quick overview of the need for the application. The report includes a vicinity map, zoning map, which gives you an idea about the surrounding area. The subject site is surrounded by residentially zoned property, and on the north side, the property the property that is to the north of the subject site is vacant and undeveloped. On the south, it is the Rodeo Palms residential subdivision across from the street. East, the site is vacant, and the west is used as single-family residential use. Since the use is already existing on the site, our analysis did not get into a whole lot of whether the use is appropriate on the site. However, based on the recommendation of the comprehensive master plan, the site being located along a major thoroughfare makes it conducive for this particular use, because the comprehensive master plan recommends that commercial, while maintaining the rural character, we have to make sure that we manage growth by strategically locating non-residential uses. At the same time, since the site will be expanded with additional gas dispensers, staff is recommending that we make sure that nuisance-related issues be addressed as part of that development process. So therefore, staff is recommending approval with the conditions listed in the report. It includes a total of 9 conditions, and most of them pertain to addressing the nuisance issue. Before reading out the comments, I would also like to highlight the fact that typically a situation like this would require a traffic impact analysis to make sure there's no detrimental effect of the use being established in the surrounding area. However, since the use already exists and the convenience store is not proposed to be expanded, and since the total number of dispensers being added is 5, we do not anticipate a whole lot of negative impact to the area. So I would quickly read out the conditions. Number 1, a plat shall be prepared and approved in conformance to Chapter 62 of the Code of Ordinances. The proposed addition of 5 gas dispensers on the subject site shall be in conformance with Section 77-31, which is the LC District regulations. Design, location, and arrangement of all driveways and parking spaces shall be provided for the safe and convenient movement of vehicular and pedestrian traffic without adversely affecting general public or adjacent development as required by Section 77-50 E9 and the City of Manvel Design Criteria Manual as amended. With the proposed addition of 5 gas dispensers on the subject site, parking spaces required for the entire site to meet the current standards of Section 77-45 shall be provided. Outdoor lighting shall be shielded and shall conform with Illuminating Engineering Society of North America, IES, criteria for full cutoff fixtures, which is 100% of light output below 90 degrees and 90% of light output below 80 degrees from a vertical line through the fixture. Outdoor lighting shall be deflected, shaded, and focused away from abutting properties and shall not be a nuisance to abutting properties. Shall be designed so that any overspill of lighting onto abutting properties shall not exceed 3/10 foot candles measured both vertically and horizontally. Opaque privacy fence shall be provided for screening along the side and rear property lines adjoining an existing residential use or zoning, using a minimum of 8 feet high wooden or masonry fence and constructed and retained adjacent to the property line. Proposed expansion area must comply with all landscaping requirements of Section 77-44. 1 evergreen tree that is 1.5 inches in caliper size measured at the base of the tree shall be planted every 35 feet at the perimeter of the subject site along the proposed expansion area to provide adequate buffer to abutting residentially used or zoned property. The public hearing for the SUP application was posted. Letters were sent to property owners within 200 feet. The applicant is here tonight. If you all have any questions for the applicant, then I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have for staff.
I have a question about the lighting. Since we've had problems with lighting before, the Overflow Church. So has this changed so that you won't be running into that again, since you do have somebody that's open single family out there?
Respond if you want. Just have a little historical background on that.
Probably weren't here when that
I
happened.
wasn't
No.
historical.
So we've had this regulation for a while. I think it's 5/10 of a candle is the spillover. And typically when we've been doing these SUPs, if we're adjacent to residential, staff's been recommending 3/10 of a foot candle in order to not be a nuisance, particularly to residential. What we've done since that time, and I don't know if y'all remember when we had gotten some complaints about Keating Toyota, while we get a photometric plan during that site plan review, and we review it and we're like, yep, that's all right. What we do before we go to certificate of occupancy when it's been constructed, we ask for a photometric survey, and that survey is actually showing us what's the light that's on the ground. It's verified by a lighting person with an engineer, and we're able to see, yeah, you know, you're not spilling over, or, you know, you have to have the proper cutoff fixtures and such like that, that you wouldn't have that spillover. So we are doing that verification to ensure that we're not a nuisance on the back end. So we've definitely learned some lessons on lighting, because I guess people don't always build what they say they're going to build. I know.
Not even paying attention out there. Okay, that was my question, because you do have a house that's right. So you've upgraded your lighting.
We've gone a little bit more strict with the spillover, but at the same time, we've got checks and balances, like I said, whereby we get that survey, the photometric survey, to ensure what's out there is what we're getting.
That looks like a ditch. I'm guessing that's a ditch next to the site, not a tree line? That would be to the west?
It is.
A ditch.
Is this platted as one piece of property or two? It's not platted at all.
Property is not platted at this.
Okay.
That is one of the conditions that we have.
That is platted?
Yeah.
Okay. Questions? Comments? Purple. Proposed parkway?
It's Kirby. It's our thoroughfare plan that's turned on there showing Kirby going north-south.
Through the residents? Through those people's properties? They'll make millions. Questions, comments?
I can make a motion to approve agenda item C with the listed 9 conditions.
I'll second.
All those in favor of the motion on the table, let's raise your hand. And the motion passes. Thank you, Josie. Joes? Joes. Sorry, buddy. Almost slipped there. Okay. So let's move on to letter D. Consideration of possible action to approve and forward with recommendation to City Council ordinance 2022-0-32. And let's see, that is give us an overview?
Joe's will give you another overview of this case.
I love it, this case.
So this is a request for a rezoning.
Good.
The subject site is an approximate 13.82 acres tract. It's located at 11700 Magnolia Parkway. The subject site is currently zoned open single-family residential district, and the request is to rezone it to light commercial, LC zoning district. The subject site currently has a single-family residential building on the property, which the applicant is proposing to, it's vacant, it's not being used at this point. The applicant is proposing to demolish that, subdivide the property, and develop it as a retail center for retail commercial land use. The current zoning designation doesn't allow for that, therefore the request for the LC commercial district. A specific list of land uses haven't been provided, but as you can see in the packet, the applicant has provided a concept site plan which shows pad sites and indicates a range of retail uses. The subject site is located at the northern extent of City of Manvel city limits. It abuts a property which is already zoned light commercial, and that property abuts to the west side. That also was built as a residential building, I guess, but currently they're in the process of getting certificate of occupancy for non-residential uses, particularly, I believe, a church and a daycare type use. As you can see from the vicinity map, again, the property is located at intersection of two major thoroughfare. And the corner properties on the other side are already developed for non-residential, commercial, retail type use, which is similar to what is being proposed. The properties across the street on the north side is within the city of Pearland. On the east side, it's east and south side, it's city of Manvel ZTJ. On the report towards the end, we have a few points that we've highlighted, which are points for consideration with respect to this request. Number one, just like the previous application, the City of Manvel's comprehensive master plan supports this request because of its location at the intersection of major thoroughfare, whereby the comprehensive master plan says strategic location of non-residential use to manage growth and promote quality of life. The second point is, again, the location at the intersection as well as abutting land use all support this proposed rezoning. The existing residential area in the vicinity is planned single-family residential rather than rural single-family. Therefore, this proposed rezoning or the proposed use is not going to be a stark contrast to the general vicinity. Again, based on the nature of the existing development, we do not anticipate this proposed rezoning to cause detrimental effect to the general area. So based on these findings, staff is recommending approval of the requested rezoning from open single family to light commercial. The packet and the staff report includes photographs of the subject site and the surrounding area. It includes zoning map and vicinity map as well, and a concept plan that was provided by the applicant. If you all have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Again, the public hearing notice was posted, duly posted. Letters were sent to property owners within 200 feet, and I believe the adjoining Mud District also received the notification, and they sent it out to folks within the Mud as well.
Okay, so that would have been at the public hearing where I called for public comments, but if you'd like to come up and,
Yeah.
correct, and if you'd like to speak, would have been in public comments, but I'll let you come up and tell us what you'd like us to know. When I called, did anybody
It was
have?
right at about 6:01, at the very beginning of the meeting. Oh, that's okay.
Okay. Sure.
Marston, how you doing? I live in that area across from there, and I totally disapprove and would rather for you guys not to vote to make that commercial, because to me, we have enough commercial buildings in the area. We have so many stores, and I can't even imagine what other commercial businesses that that we need there. You know, everything is so close. And I can foresee down in the future, down the road a bit, that, you know, people not making the money, they moving out of the building, and there we go with more empty buildings. And I look around, even in like the Pearland area, there's a lot of empty buildings. And even in, for example, Town Center, there's some empty spots there. So I just don't want to see my neighborhood, you know, with more commercial that's not needed, and you've got empty buildings there. So I came here tonight to get y'all to consider not approving the rezoning for that, for commercial. I know that building does need to be torn down, but I would prefer to see something else there other than more shopping, because we have enough of that already, close enough in the area. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am. Can we have your name and address for the record, please?
My name and address? Gwendolyn Burgess, 3523 Ellis Lane, Manvel. Ellis, Ellies, Ellis. Got it? Okay, great.
Thanks, Joes, for the overview. Comments?
I just want to kind of reiterate staff's recommendation with this being on a hard corner and an intersection of two major thoroughfares, with that being Kirby and Magnolia. This corner is in the city limits of Manvel. The other on the south side is within our ETJ. So we've had some permitting authority and such and plating authority, but as far as uses, we have no control over the uses there. Secondly, if you recall, this building has what we always refer to, it's the first mansion, but it's the smaller mansion, which is, we've been holding off on going forward on anything really heavy on the code enforcement side because of a proposed development coming through. So because of its location, a rezoning that actually rezoned the other mansion from open single family to light commercial.
Is it a church and a private school, right?
They've got some offices in there, actually some insurance offices. The property owner himself has an office in there, but yes, there was an allowance with the SUP for a church and a school. It's about a 60,000 square foot building, so that's why.
When was that done?
The rezoning was done in 2018, I believe, and in 2019, I think the SUP was permitted for that. So staff's making that recommendation to commercial because of its location, proximity.
Clean, I mean, you wouldn't want to put residential there if you had a church.
Right.
And office buildings, and then, I mean, it wouldn't make sense, yeah. A Circle K across the street, yeah.
It's actually in the building next to it. I can't remember. It's a bigger building.
The other
One next to
mansion?
it. The one next to it.
Yeah, it's
But I mean, isn't it
a church, a school with the
a bunch of
church.
things in it though?
Office.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just one thing. Okay, that's what I couldn't
commercial.
remember, so,
It's totally commercial.
yeah.
But they're still working on it, aren't they? Is it anything completed with it?
We're so close. We're trying to do some of those finals on the building itself, and then working with each of the tenants to get their occupancies for each shell space. We're close.
One other thing is the county is actually extending the four-lane divided road from Kirby westward. They've already moved the electrical poles and other things, so it's already in the works of expanding.
For Magnolia?
Right.
Yeah.
From where it ends currently at Kirby. And I don't know exactly how far west. I think it's going further west than that. It may go all the way over to 521.
Because it's it goes really wide, and then it's not
Yes.
a very good road.
But they've already cleared off part of it and moved the poles on the south side. So they're in the process of improving that road like they did 101
Yeah.
on the east of 1128. It'll look like that.
Questions, comments? Seems to me this fits in the realm of what's in the area. Isn't that what you were trying to state with us, Mr. Joes? Kyle, I know you got something. Nope. Comments? Motions. I'm looking for a motion.
I will give you a motion to approve agenda item D as recommended.
Second.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. All righty. Thank you. Thank you, Joes. And let's move on to consideration and possible action to direct staff to provide applicants written statements of the conditions for any conditional approvals and the reasons for disapproval of any plans or plats that were not approved per Texas Local Code 2120091. Do I have a motion? Unless someone's going to be writing.
I will give you a motion to approve agenda item E.
I'll second.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. All righty, and the motion passes unanimously. So consideration and possible action to approve excused committee member absences, season's greetings.
Make a motion to approve item F.
I will second that motion.
And all those in favor, please raise their hand. Merry Christmas to you.
What if we said no?
Slap you.
Now, can I make
Slap
make a
you.
motion to adjourn?
You can.
Second.
Happy New Year. And